Hi friends, Doug Pratt speaking to you from the chapel of First Church in Bonita Springs for another Pastor's Chat. It is Thursday, July the 23rd, which is just about halfway through the summer of 2020, at least as we figure summer in Florida, which is 4 months long, June, July, August, and September. And so because we're at about a midpoint, it seemed like a good time to get back in touch with you. I want to talk to you, first of all, about a spiritual perspective on the experiences we are all having during this year. The summer of 2020 has been a time when just about the entire human race has been impacted significantly. And we saw it start for America, the month of March, when our leaders said 15 days to slow the spread, and then 30 more days to slow the spread. And we had hopes that that would mean the curve would be declined and flattened, and by this time at least, we would be well on our way to getting back to normal. But it hasn't happened exactly as we had hoped. And we are having to wait and be patient, as nearly every aspect of life has been significantly impacted. Think about it: travel, education, church, businesses, retail, restaurants, tourism, the healthcare industry, the legal system, government, sports, entertainment, politics. It's all been impacted, and there's no real clear, definite, certain promise ahead that it's coming to an end. And because of that, whenever we are in a time where we are having to endure or put up with something longer than we had prepared for, it becomes wearying. We get worn out. We get impatient. We lose our energy and our motivation. We become listless. And it's very easy to fall into bad habits when that kind of long, slow, without a clear endpoint ordeal continues. I know how easy it is to fall into bad habits during times like this, but overeating and binge watching TV may be an immediate pleasure, but they don't do us any good in the long term, and they just make us feel even more removed from any energy or motivation. It was about 2,000 years ago that a brilliant Christian by the name of the Apostle Paul, who obviously could not foresee a worldwide pandemic 20 centuries into the future, nevertheless wrote words that I think are incredibly relevant and powerful for us today. This is what Paul says. A book called Galatians, chapter 6, verse 9, if you want to look it up for yourself. Here's what he said: "Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up." When I read this verse a couple days ago, it just leapt off the page to me. This is what I need to hear. Maybe it's what you need to hear. To not give up, to keep on going and doing what God wants us to do. And that's especially important in the most critical area of all of our lives. That is our spiritual life, our relationship with God. We need to keep that strong. We need to keep doing the things that are best for our soul. And that includes weekly worship of God. And wherever you are, if you are able to attend a weekly worship service, that's great. If the only and best option for you is to watch online, our church or another, by all means, don't give up in that weekly discipline of worshiping God, and continue to pray. Talk to God about what you're feeling. Share with Him your concerns and needs and pray for others. Read the scriptures. Read other Christian literature. Visit with, however you need to, your family and friends to keep that spiritual life strong. I want to tell you a story that I learned from a book by Elisabeth Elliot, a Christian author, who was on a trip to England, and she heard about a parsonage located next to a church in an English village. The church council had decided to renovate for a new coming pastor, and so they tore all of the interior out and cleared it out to its original walls. It was several hundred years old. And they found, once the paneling and the drywall had been removed, that on one wall of that pastor's home had been carved in the stone these words, "Do the next thing," and then the name and a date in the 17th century. Well, the church leaders were surprised to find that, went back through their church register centuries before, and discovered that in that particular year, 16 whatever, that was the name of the pastor serving their congregation. As they looked further into the church rolls, they discovered that there had been 49 funerals officiated by that pastor in their church that year. A remarkable, impossible number for a fairly small community. And so they went to the town hall, and looking through the records, they discovered that that was a year when that community had suffered a plague. And in the community records, it was revealed that that pastor had faithfully gone on all the rounds with the town's doctor, visiting and ministering both physically and spiritually to the people of that community. That was a courageous pastor working faithfully in a time of a great epidemic and a deadly plague. And obviously, he had carved those words, "Do the next thing," as a daily reminder to himself. Wow, I think that's a great reminder to us to do the next thing. And in the words of Galatians 6, let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. Well, let me talk to you a little bit about church news and then what's happening in our local community. The church has been worshiping every week, every Sunday since May the 3rd. That's 3 consecutive months at 8 o'clock and 10 o'clock a.m., and have been live streaming each of those weeks over the internet at the 10 o'clock service. Attendance here in the summer months is a little bit less than 300 combined at those two services. Obviously, in a huge sanctuary, social distancing has not been a problem for us who gather live, but more significantly, on average, about 1,000 or more separate computers have been turned in to and tuned in to watch us and participate in our worship from a long distance away. Some from Florida, some from other states or Canada and elsewhere. That number, and we think perhaps many of those counts represent 2 or more people watching in the same room at the same time. Thus, we've had a pretty good participation in worship, and we're very grateful for that. As we look ahead, 1 week from this coming Sunday, the first Sunday in August, we will be holding a communion Sunday again. And we're going to invite those of you who witness by the internet our worship services to be prepared on that day, August the 2nd, to have glasses of wine or juice and bread or wafers available so that in the proper time of the service, we can all partake of communion together wherever we might be. Now, large group meetings at the church have been postponed and probably will be into August as we wait to see if the spike of coronavirus cases in Florida decreases at that time. Small groups are meeting, the church offices are open, and our bookstore is open on Sunday mornings and Monday through Thursday through the week. Our thrift store is also open for regular business Monday through Saturday during the week. And we are very grateful that we're able to maintain some of those normal activities. One activity we love and cherish is our chancel choir. Those of you who are watching this who are singers in the choir, boy, do we miss you. But probably, at least until Christmas, we will not be able to enjoy your ministry of singing for us. We don't know how long that will be, but choir rehearsals have been canceled out of caution and protection for a period of time. Our right turn lane project has been completed. The next time you are in our area and are coming to the church property, if you're traveling east on Bonita Beach Road, you will find a nice, safe, slow down lane and a wide turn into our property, a real safety feature for us. Thank you to those of you who gave to make that work possible, and thanks to all of you who have helped to sustain the finances of our church through our lean summer months. We have been able to keep all of our staff, and they're working very hard. We've been able to support all of our missionaries. We're very grateful for your generosity in that respect. We also thank you for your gifts to the project called Save Our Homes, which has been helping many, many families in our community through the partnership with Love in the Name of Christ, who vet all the needs and are able to provide significant help to people in keeping their homes during their economic difficulties. We have one other thing to share with you, and that is that our pastoral staff and our technology staff are busy in preparing and recording online opportunities that we're calling the Life Academy, and we'll be making those available to you very soon. They'll be ideal for people to watch as individuals or couples or small groups can watch these approximately 20 to 25 minute segments of teaching and interaction and have an opportunity to continue to grow in your faith. Now, let me talk a little bit about what's happening locally. Florida has indeed had a spike in cases, and they have resulted in, with many more tests being done, approximately and over 10% of all the tests that are reported have become positive. That compares to, in the month of May, only 3% were proving to be positive. So there is a significant uptick, though it is far greater on the southeast coast of Florida than it is on the Gulf Coast, as Miami and Fort Lauderdale and other areas are a true hotspot. And also in Collier County, the community of Immokalee, a farm workers community where people live in close quarters and are not able to socially distance, has seen a real spike in the cases. Now let me give you a little bit of information on the hospitals locally. In Lee County hospitals, 5 hospitals combined, there are 322 virus patients in the hospital. 55 of them are in intensive care units. The ICUs are thus about 95% full, but only 44% of the ventilators are in use. So there are a lot of machines available yet. In Collier County, there are 117 virus patients in hospitals. The ICUs are 90% full, but 91% of the ventilators are still available. The average age of the positive tests has declined dramatically. I don't know if that means the people who are 60 and older are just smarter or more cautious than younger people are, or if the reopening of activities such as bars and restaurants has triggered some of that uptick. The doctors and the treatment available is obviously far superior to what it was in the early weeks of the coronavirus in America, and therefore the death rate is declining pretty dramatically as well. One of the biggest problems is very slow test results. Some people are waiting 10, 12 days from when they are tested until when they get the results. Well, that is unacceptable. In 12 days, you either, if you've started to have symptoms when you had the test, you're either completely recovered or you're on a ventilator. And you don't even know yet that you have the virus. So it's a problem, a real problem our country's got to deal with. In terms of our church, we know of 2 members of our congregation who spent time in the hospital with the coronavirus. Both of them are home and recovered. I know of 10 people in the church total who have tested positive. There may be more that I'm not aware of, but that's my numbers, my tally to date. Our businesses are certainly being impacted. Bars have closed. Restaurants are at 50%. The Collier County Commission just passed a mask rule for indoor activity. Our public schools may be delaying their start. That is certainly the case in Collier County, maybe in Lee County as well, though our winter years preschool is going to start on August the 10th. Politics have been impacted. We have a dozen candidates for an open congressional seat, and normal politics cannot be done, so everything is by television and mail advertising pretty much. Our weather the last couple weeks has been a bit unusual in that we had very little rain, but those daily rains have seemed to return in the last few days. On a personal note, I had the opportunity to have a an executive physical at the Cleveland Clinic in Miami a couple of weeks ago. It was very helpful. Some of you maybe have had that experience, and it's really been a great, very practical guidance for me. My wife and I had plans to travel to visit family and friends in Pennsylvania and Ohio. Those travel plans have been canceled, as have many of your travel plans. The only thing we're going to be doing is staying within the state of Florida and doing a quick driving trip to a golf resort to have a few days of getaway and R&R. We've been working on a home project, some renovation of our lanai and new outdoor furniture, and I've been spending a lot of time in reading. Reading and golf are my two hobbies. I've been reading books of biography and history and business and fiction and Christian classics. And I hope you have been taking advantage of extra time to read as well. If you haven't yet, I encourage you to pick up and read a profound book entitled I've Seen the End of You by Dr. Lee Warren, a practicing neurosurgeon who is going to be with us next February. And it is an amazing book. It is our summer reading challenge for the year, and I hope you'll have a chance to read it. Well, it has been great to visit with you, but I would love to hear back from you. At any time, if you'd like to email me and share with me what's happening in your life wherever you are spending the summer, and share with me any prayer requests you might have, I'd be very interested to receive that. And I hope to stay in touch. Until we see each other again in person, you're in my prayers. Be safe and know that you are loved.